HuffPost UK, Kevin Schofield, and author and broadcaster Emma Wolf. Yes, I haven't even had a Christmas tipple or anything. I managed to say the name straight. Emma, kick us off. There's a story inside the Mail on Sunday that has taken your interest about Keir Starmer needing a break.
Yeah, well, I think lots of us need a break at this time of year, but he really hasn't had, the Prime Minister hasn't had a great first 4 or 5 months of his premiership. His popularity ratings are at an all-time low. They are lower than Jeremy Corbyn's ratings when he left office as Labour leader. Yeah, it is awful. And, you know, I mean, an overwhelming landslide. So there's been this record collapse in popularity ratings, pretty bruising start. Nearly 3 million people have signed that petition that they're going to debate in January, early January, calling for a general election. So that's nearly 3 million. So anyway, friends of the Prime Minister have been saying that he badly needs a holiday, that he's been under relentless strain. He needs a lot of soothing and buoying up at the moment, was a quote that I thought was hilarious. But on a more serious note, you know, it has been a difficult 4 or 5 months. Winter fuel was a very bruising time. Inheritance
That was a very
tax
early decision, wasn't it?
Very early decision, and really got the public extremely angry. Farmers' inheritance tax, now WASPy women, lots and lots of issues have. And I don't think, perhaps after so many years in opposition, perhaps the Labour front bench, well, you'll know, didn't realise how it was going to be, didn't prepare for number 10, or maybe you never can quite prepare for being Prime Minister.
Although, do you think they always knew that they were going to do the difficult stuff first, early on, that they felt that they had to, you know, raise the taxes, which weren't going to be popular, and do the tricky stuff, and the hope would be that they can, you know, make life easier later on?
Yeah, I mean, that is the theory, certainly. Get it out the door early, and then people will have forgotten about it by the election, and hopefully things will be much better by the election. But it's a bit of a gamble. Emma's right, they've got off to an awful start. I mean, the winter fuel one does feel like a self-inflicted wound, really. It's not going to raise that much money, but it's going to dog them for quite some time, possibly all the way to the next election if they don't find the money to overturn it. And, yeah, there's even suggestions in the paper, although I've got to say I've not really picked this up myself, that some people are already speculating within the Labour Party how long he can last, or can he possibly lead them into the next election. I mean, I think it's probably still a little bit early for that, but there's no doubt that there is disquiet on the Labour benches, that it's not going well, and they're going to need to try and turn it around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Within the paper, they're talking, I mean, Dan Hodges is saying, you know, could this be his only Christmas in Downing Street? Could he just be, or will he even make it to this time next year? You know, is he a one-term Prime Minister, or is he even just, like, really won't make it to next Christmas?
I mean, we are sort of addicted in Westminster to the non-stop drama as well, because we went through so many Prime Ministers under the Tories. You know, so the idea
normal
of
times, it's not.
The idea of 5 years with the one Prime Minister.
Yeah, but it has been a bad start.
It definitely has been a bad start. Yeah.
OK, let's move on to the front of the Observer, Kevin, and an article here about whether or not donations to political parties should be capped, or the questions over foreign donors giving money to political parties.
Yeah, so this kind of follows on, really, from that previous story, because Reform in the polls are doing really, really well, and in local council elections as well. They've been performing pretty well. There was one poll a couple of weeks ago actually put them above Labour. So they're obviously a threat to Labour. And obviously Elon Musk has been dropping heavy hints. He had talks with Nigel Farage about potentially giving money. Now, at the moment, as a foreign national, he shouldn't be allowed to give money to a British political party. However, there are loopholes. There's a suggestion he could funnel it through the British arm of X to do it that way. Now, there's been talk of Labour or the government trying to tighten the rules. Now, this story in the Observer is very interesting because it says that actually they've thought about it and thought that actually might backfire, because it looks like you're changing the rules to
just because of that competition.
To keep out Reform, and that just plays into their anti-establishment narrative. However, I do think, though, that Elon Musk, he is a very, very wealthy man, and I don't think that foreigners should be allowed to give money to political parties. And if there is a way that he can do it, then they should look to try and close that loophole. And because if they don't, and he does give them money, it's potentially game-changing. You know, even if he gives them, say, £5 million, that's an awful lot of money in British political terms, and it could really, really give rocket boosters under Reform UK.
Yeah, that's really interesting because some would say, you know, look at America. Kamala Harris had so much money on her campaign and she didn't win. So the question of how much influence it can have, but also it does beg the question of why Elon Musk would want to give money to Reform. What's he want to achieve there?
He's been very vocal and very, very critical of Labour in recent months, hasn't he? He talks about, you know, he's referred to Starmer as Stalin. And actually, the millions maybe didn't help Kamala Harris, but it certainly, those Musk millions helped Donald Trump in the 7 sort of swing states. So, I mean, it really can put, as you say, Nick Candy's been out there, their new treasurer, Reform's new treasurer, talking to Musk about money, money, money.
We've got 45 seconds. I think we should talk about the worries in Ireland about a certain drink.
It's worries in
on
this...
the front of the...
Yeah, it's in this country. We've got a proper Guinness shortage.
You're right. I was saying the worries in Ireland, because aren't they bringing in more
so
from
now
Ireland?
they're having to bring in even more than they do for St Patrick's Day, which is absolutely incredible. It's going through the roof, its popularity. Some pubs are having to bring in ration cards to limit how much...
Guinness. I've never... 2020... Do you drink Guinness?
I don't drink Guinness, actually.
I drink Guinness. It is very good. I can understand why it's so popular. It is fantastic.
I'm going to try Guinness in 2025.
This is very worrying news for Guinness drinkers.
You can do it now, because we're saying goodbye and thank you. Happy Christmas.
Happy